Welcome back, France24 Newsroom. It's Wednesday. That means it's time for our weekly dose of fashion and style. Jessica Michault, the online style editor of the International Herald Tribune, is here. It's fashion galore, fortunately, because that's your area of expertise. Now, let's talk first, though. End of the road for Christian Lacroix. He is shutting up shop. No knight in shining armour to come to the brand's rescue.
Yes, unfortunately, that's the sad news of the day. Christian Lacroix, a judge, announced that there was not enough proof of financial backing for, there were two suitors, but there was just no proof that they could actually relaunch the brand and make it viable. So the Failet Group, which owns Christian Lacroix, has decided to shutter the company and just continue a couple of licensing brands, which means about 100 staff members will be out of a job.
Okay. What exactly did Christian Lacroix do so wrong? Because other fashion brands have been hit by this financial crisis, yet they have managed to keep their heads above water, yet Christian Lacroix, no. Why not?
Well, Christian Lacroix it's not a new thing for Christian. He hasn't been profitable in the 22 years that his business has been around. So Christian is quite an artist and an amazing designer and creator, and as a creative entity, I don't think that he had the business side handled very well, and I think he wasn't able to go off and maybe do partnerships or do other things, launch an it bag or a perfume that was quite successful. So he just needed to be channeled a bit better, and I think that was probably his downfall.
Partnerships like collaborations, which
Absolutely.
For our viewers, although not for me, might explain why Jessica's looking slightly tired this morning. That's because you had a late night last night.
Yes, I did.
Going to the new Sonia Rykiel, I almost called her Sylvie, she won't like that, Sonia Rykiel H&M collaboration launch.
Yeah, absolutely. Last night at the Grand Palais, Sonia Rykiel and H&M rented it out and turned it into a madhouse carnival with Ferris wheels and cotton candy and a miniature Eiffel Tower. It was quite extraordinary, and they really pulled out all the stops. Celebrities like Kate Boswell were there. Designers like Jean Paul Gaultier came out, and there was even a little
Rivals.
mini. Yes, I mean everybody was coming out because it was such a party, and they had a little mini Sonia Rykiel store where they were selling the lingerie collaboration with H&M, and all of the proceeds going to UNICEF. And I have to say that the fashion world is pretty jaded when it comes to all of these kind of launches. But the finale, which was a float parades of all of the collection's girls with their hair crimped out to look like Sonia Rykiel, wearing the lingerie and the knitwear designs by Sonia around the whole Grand Palais, just knocked the socks off of everyone. So we're going to see a couple of images of that and a little word or two from Nathalie Rykiel, the president of the Sonia Rykiel Group.
So when H&M contacted me to offer me to close the year with them, designing a lingerie collection, I said yes immediately. I thought it was a brilliant way to close the year. Makes me happy.
Okay, well, massive bash there. It does like a lot of fun. Is there not potentially slightly poor taste, obviously given the times, given the news that came this morning with Christian Lacroix, and also it's just another collaboration?
Well, I mean, you could argue that, but Sonia Rykiel has been doing collaborations since all the way back since 1977. She did one with Trois Suisses in France. So she's a grande dame of collaborations. It's not a new thing for her. But it is an interesting thing. It's the first time that H&M has done a lingerie launch, and it's going to be going out in the 2,000 stores around the world, I believe at the end of the week this week. And then in February 20th, they're launching a knitwear collaboration with Sonia Rykiel and a number of, and I think a more selective group of stores.
Okay, and big for H&M because they also do something with Jimmy Choo. So shoes too.
Yeah, so they're really pushing out. They're not just doing clothing, they're doing accessories. And so Jimmy Choo, they launched in November a small collection which sold out immediately for them. So it really keeps the collaboration idea fresh for H&M. And with the Rykiel collaboration, what was quite interesting, it's the first time that H&M has allowed their line to be put into the stores of the designers. So you can actually purchase H&M clothing within a Rykiel store, which is a way for them to maybe touch an older market that isn't really, they usually have a younger market going to H&M, and Sonia Rykiel's a little bit older, so they'll be able to touch a whole new market with them. So that's quite interesting for them.
Okay, so it's win-win for H&M, especially in theory, because they're saving a bit of money because they don't have to hire designers. But what does Sonia Rykiel or Jimmy Choo, what did they have to gain from actually doing this?
Well, for Jimmy Choo, what was interesting is, okay, they had their shoes, but they also did for the first time a little bit of clothing, so women and men's clothing to go with it. So they're able to do that without a whole lot of risk. For Sonia Rykiel, it was an opportunity for them to launch lingerie and really show to the world they could do something other than knitwear, which is what they're famous for.
Sonia Rykiel knitwear. Mm-hmm. I have to say, I'm actually proud of saying that I have a Sonia Rykiel wallet. Well, I did. It's fallen apart now. But this is, I know you were trying to educate me, because this is basically what's called fast fashion, not to be confused with fast food, although essentially the same thing, really. But I mean, isn't there a danger, for example, Sonia Rykiel buyers, clients who spend a lot of money buying Sonia Rykiel products, is there not a danger of them sort of losing their client base, really, by branching out to these cheaper high street shops?
Yeah, that's absolutely the risk. I mean, what is the difference between a Jimmy Choo strappy sandal and its alter ego at H&M? So brands really need to be careful who they partner up with. A good example of a partnership that I think kind of went wrong is the one that's about to be launched between Rodarte and Target. It's being launched on the 20th of December. I have some images of that. Rodarte is an incredible brand, a great luxury brand, and when you try and translate that into maybe a cheaper fabric, sometimes it just doesn't work, and I think that's a really good example of it not working.
Okay, so you're poo-pooing it even before it's been launched.
I can have my opinions.
No, of course, that's what. But does any of these collaborations, these collaborations actually ever blossom, really?
Yeah, I think that if you're smart, you can really come up with some great meeting of the minds. I think Pharrell Williams, who did a high jewelry collection with Louis Vuitton called Blason, was really good, and he just is at Art Basel at the end of the week. He's going to be launching a collaboration of jackets with Moncler, and they're actually using some product in the jackets from his company called Bionic Yarn, which actually builds materials out of recycled plastic bottles. So that, I think, he's been really good. And then, of course, I think the best success story is Stella McCartney, who has done, started with H&M, was I think just the second person after Karl Lagerfeld to launch a collaboration. She's also done it with the Sports Sack, and she's also done it with Adidas. And now this November, just a couple of days ago, she launched for Gap Kids, a huge line, great success. Angelina Jolie bought it for her kids, and now Carlos Sarkozy was spotted wearing one of the kids' jackets, a band leader jacket, when she was singing live with Harry Connick Jr. on French television. And it's basically, you're seeing all of the tiny little women running in to try and buy Gap kids clothes for themselves.
Have we seen the last, you think, of fast fashion?
Actually, I think partnerships and collaborations will be where we'll be seeing fashion going for the next 10 years.
Okay. But who's your favourite then? Which of the collaborations that you've seen works best for you? I won't mention the Rodarte one.
No, actually, I want to coming back to Rodarte. The shoes they did with Repetto, the high-end ballerina shoe company, are beautiful, and that was a really great collaboration. So it's really finding the right blend. And if I could get my hands on a couple of Stella McCartney outfits for my kids, I think they're fabulous too.
But I mean, I'm still thinking of those pictures of Karl Lagerfeld, for example, his collaboration with H&M. I mean, it's one thing, fine, to sort of branch out his label and sort of make himself more appealable to younger people, but actually they still can't afford Karl Lagerfeld.
Well, maybe not when they're 20 and 30, but who knows what they'll get into later. It gives them a taste of design, I think, particularly maybe not the quality of the clothes so much, but the design idea is really interesting. And that, it's kind of like almost buying a lipstick or a perfume from one of your favorite brands. It's not the clothing, it's not the haute couture, but it's the first step into maybe going into those stores later in life and putting down a credit card.
And since you've been watching all these collaborations, have you noticed if any of the big fashion scions basically have actually changed their style, have evolved, have taken on what they've seen, for example, in their collaborations with, for example, H&M or Gap, and actually ended up changing their own designs for haute couture?
I don't know how fast fashion could translate into haute couture because they're complete opposites ends of the pole. But I think that a lot of the major designers have been impressed by how quickly and how confidently H&M and other brands have been able to come up with designs that are in keeping with the styles of the designers.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for that, Jessica Michault, the online style editor for International Herald Tribune. You will be back next week, next Wednesday, I hope. I think it is next Wednesday. Anyway, thank you very much, Jessica. That's it then for this news hour here on France 24. But news does continue, so stay with us after this short break. Marcus Carson.
opportunities.